A very good evening and a warm welcome to our second edition of UBC News Tonight. Before we get into tonight's bulletin, let's first take a look at the top stories of the night.
Brought to you by
How to get points. Just use MTN to make calls, send SMS, load airtime, buy bundles, or pay for MTN subscription services.
Everywhere you go, MTN.
NRM Parliamentary Caucus endorses Anita for speakership race as SEC endorses Thomas Tayewa for Deputy Speaker. The opposition front, Bujiri Municipality MP Asman Basalirwa for speakership. More stories making headlines. ICT Minister Dr. Chris Badiomosi clarifies on Speaker Jacob Oulanyah's cause of death. And opposition leaders and former presidential candidates sign condolence book at Parliament.
Was brought to you by Everywhere you go, MTN.
I'm Lorene Masika Kazimoto and Elizabeth Nakakoni on Sign Language. Thank you so much for joining us on this second edition of UBC News Tonight. Now we start off with our first headlining story this evening. The 11 NRM MPs that were competing with the Deputy Speaker Anita on position of Speaker to replace the deceased Jacob Oulanyah have accepted defeat after SEC successfully endorsed Anita as NRM flag bearer ahead of the election slated for tomorrow, Friday, at Kololo. These include Sarah Opendi, Theodore Sichikubo, Florence Akiki, and others. And they say they won't be running as independents but support their party candidate.
Of the 4th Central Executive Committee of the National Resistance Movement Party sitting in an emergency session at Entebbe last evening, the committee successfully endorsed Deputy Speaker Anita as party candidate for speakership race. Others who were in the race include Jacobo Bothoboth, Sarah Pendi, Theodore Sachikobo, Dens Hamson Oboa, Jackson Kafuzi, Felix Okotogong, Florence Akiki, Pius Wakabi, among others, and they clarified to us that they accepted SEC's decision.
We all cannot be speakers. There is only one position, and yet we are many. So I do congratulate her, and I look forward to working closer even with her.
The only issue, however, was for SEC and the NRM Electoral Commission to invite expression of interest.
So as NRM, we have structures. The topmost structure is SEC that sat yesterday about who should be the speaker for the next parliament. And the decision was based on other factors, but the main ones, one, that she contested as a deputy speaker and she was overwhelmingly voted as a deputy speaker. According to Remiaga County MP Theodore Sechikobo, he will not be running as independent during the election.
There are those areas where you agree and those you disagree. I respectfully take the position of SEC for their reasons, and I don't see myself standing as an independent candidate.
The little time she has performed her role as a speaker, while the speaker is away, she has done a lot.
Shamim Naiga, Gloria Gutabinji, UBC News.
The Deputy Speaker of Parliament, Anita has been endorsed by the NRM Central Executive Committee flag bearer of the ruling NRM in the speakership race. Today she was presented to the political organ of the party, the NRM caucus, before Parliament could decide her fate with her main political rival from the opposition in the race for the speakership position of the 11th Parliament. The position of the Speaker fell vacant on 20th March 2022 when the incumbent Speaker Jacob Oulanyah was announced dead in Seattle, United States of America. But who is Anita Let's have a look at her contour.
Miss Anita Anet is a Ugandan accountant, lawyer and politician who serves as the woman member of parliament representing Bukedea district. Was born in Bukedea in 1973 and attended local schools for elementary and secondary education. She graduated with a bachelor's degree in business administration from Makerere University in 2005 and immediately enrolled for a master's degree in business administration, which she completed in 2008 also from Makerere University. In 2018, Among graduated from Kampala International University with a Bachelor of Law degree. From 1998 until 2006, Miss Among worked at Centenary Bank, and by the time she left in 2006, she had risen to the rank of branch manager. For the 10 years prior to her election to Parliament, she served as a lecturer in accounting at Kampala International University. For 2 parliamentary election cycles in 2007, when Bukedea district was created, and 2011, Among lost the district woman representative seat to Rose Akol by then of the National Resistance Movement political party. Anita Among, a long-time member of the Forum for Democratic Change FDC by then, contested as an independent in 2016 and won the seat. In the 10th Parliament, Ms. Among served as the Vice Chairperson of the Committee on Commissions, Statutory Authorities and State Enterprises COSASE, which was led by Bugweri County MP Abdu Katuntu. In 2020, she joined the National Resistance Movement political party after falling out with her party FDC and won the party primaries. In the 2021 general elections, Among was one of the few legislators who was elected unopposed to join the 11th Parliament.
My name is Anita Among Anet, a member of Parliament of Bukedea District. I do consent to my nomination.
Thank you very much.
Anita Among would later declare her bid for the Deputy Speakership of the 11th Parliament of Uganda, which she won.
I therefore declare the Honorable Among Anita duly elected Deputy Speaker of Parliament.
Among Anita, swear in the name of the Almighty God that I will at all times well and truly serve the Republic of Uganda in the office of Deputy Speaker, and that I will support and uphold the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda as by the law established. So help me God.
After serving for 9 months as Deputy Speaker, Anita Among has been endorsed by her party NRM to succeed Jacob Oulanyah, who passed away a few days ago.
Hereby recommends to the NRM Parliamentary Caucus the Right Honorable Among Anita Anet for endorsement as NRM candidate for the position of Speaker of the 11th Parliament of Uganda.
She will become the first woman to have served for less than a year as Deputy Speaker before elevation to the top slot. Bernard Higa, UBC News.
Thomas Tayewa is to represent the NRM party for the position of Deputy Speaker of the 11th Parliament. The decision was endorsed by the NRM Central Executive Committee through the Parliamentary Caucus. We have the details in this report.
Thomas Banjirana Tayewa is a 42-year-old lawyer and politician. He was appointed as the government chief whip by Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. Since 2016, he serves as the Member of Parliament for Ruhinda North County in Mitoma District and a member of the NRM, the ruling national political party in Uganda. Tayewa was born to Banjirana Daudi and Betty Komohanji of Bitereko village in Mitoma District. He attended Chigarama Primary School, Chigarama Senior Secondary School, and Ruyonza School for USCE in the year 2000. In 2005, he received a Bachelor of Arts in Social Sciences at Makerere University, and in 2012, he received a Bachelor of Law degree from Makerere as well. He served as a member of the National Economy Committee and Natural Resources Committee. In October 2015, Tayewa joined elective politics on the NRM ticket, winning both the party's primaries with 15,092 votes and the 2016 Ugandan general election, thereby becoming a member of the 10th Parliament for the Pearl of Africa, representing Ruhinda North County in Mitoma district. On 14th February 2009, Tayewa married Anita Rukundo at St. Augustine Chapel in Makerere, Kampala. They have one child.
Right, that right there is the profile of Thomas Tayewa, the man who is likely to become the next Deputy Speaker of the 11th Parliament, of course, using the NRM numerical strength. Now, back to our other story. Thomas Tayewa is to represent the NRM party for the position of Deputy Speaker of the 11th Parliament. Now, this decision was endorsed by the NRM SEC committee through the Parliamentary Caucus. Take a look.
The NRM Parliamentary Caucus, backed by the NRM Central Executive Committee, has endorsed Thomas Bangirana Tayewa to stand as the party flag bearer for the position of Deputy Speaker. The decision came through after the position went vacant, with Honorable Anita Mong being endorsed by the NRM Central Executive Committee to stand as Speaker of Parliament.
So, in order not to call SEC and the caucus again, we met at the Central Executive Committee and we took a decision that we open up the position of Deputy Speaker in the caucus, and indeed members expressed their interest and they appeared before the Central Executive Committee, and in the end they stood down in favor of Honorable Thomas Tayewa, who has been serving as the government chief whip, and he went through unopposed as the official flag bearer for the position of Deputy Speaker. NRM as a party, we shall work extremely very hard to make sure that the flag bearer of NRM wins. That's what I'm saying. What you're asking is just hypothetical. But the reality is we shall make sure that NRM wins. Very smoothly, and we hope to maintain this kind of unity and consensus within the NRM family in Parliament.
Among the 11 candidates who had shown interest for the Deputy Speakership position, they all came to a consensus to endorse Tayewa.
Of the 11 candidates who had offered themselves, when the Central Executive Committee meeting sat, all the others withdrew out of concurrency with the current government chief whip, Honorable Thomas Tayewa, and they all decided to back him.
Honorable Thomas Tayewa and the Right Honorable Anita Mong were the people that were at the front. And now bringing them together, even when Honorable Tayewa was a government chief whip and the floor of Parliament, they were working together. We are seeing cohesion. So the two, Anita Mong and Tayewa, I believe, are going to work better in terms of moving Parliament together, but also for harmony of the people of Uganda and also for Parliament. Because I believe that this team, the two of them, are going to steer Parliament very well.
The NRM party spokesperson Emmanuel Dombo highlighted how the party is ready to compete favorably and win both slots of Speaker and Deputy Speaker come Friday.
We'll wait for the names to be nominated on the floor, and people will compete by offering themselves. They will do the elections, they will count the votes, and whoever wins will take the day. But given the unanimity that is within the NRM, and that has been demonstrated today, there is nothing that will stop the candidates of the National Resistance Movement from taking the positions of Speaker and Deputy Speaker of Parliament.
Tayewa has been the government chief whip for 11 months. The Ruhinda North legislator will compete to court Moses of FDC, who is to represent the opposition side. Parliament is expected to convene early Friday for the polls.
The opposition wing in Parliament have anonymously fronted Bujiri Municipality Member of Parliament Osman Basalirwa for the position of the speakership. The Jema party leader will be facing off with Anita Among, who was endorsed by NRM Party's Central Executive Committee to vie for the same position. The elections of the speakership position to replace the late Jacob Oulanyah will be held tomorrow, Friday, the 25th of March 2022.
The opposition is not ready to give up in the race to have a historical position of chairing the August House. The Bujiri Municipality Member of Parliament, also leader of the JM party, has secured the backup of the opposition in Parliament.
The first time I stood for Parliament was in 2001. I attempted to become youth MP. I got only one vote. Because it was electoral college, I got only one vote. And I don't know who voted for me because I was not even a voter. I stood again in 2006, I failed. I stood in 2008, there was a by-election in Bukoli North, I failed. I stood in 2011, I failed. I stood in 2016, I failed. A municipality was created in 2018, I went through. So I came to Parliament at my 5th attempt. That is the determination. That is the courage. That is the assurance, that's the commitment I want to give to you.
The members of the opposition first engaged in a closed-door meeting, and later 49 members agreed to front Basalirwa against 29 who had opted for the UPC favourite Jonathan Odu.
We must retain the integrity of this House. Professor Evi Daise, a renowned constitutional lawyer, did say, Parliament can make and unmake anything. That should be our position. We must not be considered to be second citizens. Neither should we be a second arm of government. We must always remain the top arm of government. That is the commitment, that is the struggle, that is the aspiration I bring.
Meanwhile, the opposition has also endorsed Moses Biteka Okot for the position of Deputy Speakership to run with NRM's Thomas Tayewa.
National Inter-Platform Party had endorsed me as their candidate for the position of Deputy Speakership. However, it was subject to the opposition caucus resolution, which we have just held now. And in the opposition caucus, we have all agreed as the opposition that we should front a candidate from the northern region as a befitting send-off to the Right Honourable Jacob Oulanyah.
Our main emphasis was, first of all, regional balance and competence. For us, I don't think it should be about numbers, it should be about democracy. Who has to take what, or who should take what?
Coming from the Gota North, Acholi, Lango, West Nile, he's one to consolidate opposition spirit in the North, including an open invitation to non-opposition from the North, who believe that the North, in losing the Honourable Jacob Oulanyah, lost one of their own, and therefore replacing him with the Honourable Court would be really a befitting send-off for Jacob.
Daniel Mugoya and Gloria Gutabenji, UBC News.
Chagulanyi Sentamu, Kampala Lord Mayor Elias Lukwago, Auditor General John Muwanga, and former presidential candidates John Katumba and Nancy Kalembe and more legislators have signed the condolence book at Parliament in honor of the late Speaker Jacob Oulanyah. They had this to say immediately after they paid their respects to the deceased.
Remembrance in terms of what we do as leaders of this house and members of this house, we do our best.
I found him to be an astute leader, a fine legislator, a person who was amiable, approachable, very social, and candid in whatever he would do, despite the political differences we would have, the volatile political environment. But he's one person you would talk to and he would listen. And at times he would, in most cases, by the way, he would give you the opportunity to speak out whatever you wanted. He is not a person who was vindictive in nature, that would have that vengeance against you, even if you made a ferocious attack or criticism against him.
We send our condolences to the people of Uganda, to the people of Acholi and Parliament for the loss of yet another son. We also want to take this opportunity to remind all concerned not to ignore the voices that are coming from Acholi, from the Acholi traditional leadership, from the family of Jacob Oulanyah, particularly his father.
The First Lady and the Minister of Education and Sports, Mrs. Janet Museveni, has met a 6-man delegation from the Coalition of Women in Africa for Peace and Development at State House, Nakasero. The Coalition of Women in Africa for Peace and Development is a project put together with an aim to harness the enormous capacity and goodwill of women in Africa by bringing them under a coalition towards achieving 4 thematic areas of peace in Africa: girl-child education, ending hunger, and ending poverty in Africa. The co-op delegation included Mr. Belema Kalada, a Nigerian and founder of co-op, Miss Judy Oricho from Kenya, who is a gender-based activist, and Miss Lorraine Kaizai, a librarian and an advocate for the girl child. Others were Miss Roslyn Wandaki from Kenya, who is a gender-based violence and mental health champion, Mr. Collins Oguchukwu from Nigeria, and Miss Chirabo Josephine, a Ugandan, who are both advocates for the girl child. The delegation met the First Lady to discuss with her the possibilities of Uganda hosting the 4th edition of the annual Africa Women's Summit and Honor next year, 2023.
An organization that is formed indeed to fight that trend of Africa being so poor and our people being born in poverty and dying in poverty, when we are so blessed. It's like a betrayal to God himself. It's good to see young people taking up a cause like this, to work for it and be serious about it. That's how we can change our continent. We are blessed with so much that if it is put into use for our populations, Africa can truly change.
The co-op, it's a coalition of women, and these women are already doing things in their sphere around these core areas. So the idea of co-op is to bring them together and to sharpen their response in what they are doing, and also get both government and other supports like we are going to be getting from the African Development Bank. Then us ourselves as co-op, what we do is that as regards girls' child education, we ensure we raise funds ourselves to fund girls back to school, to pay their school fees. So we go out of our way to generate resources that we use to pay school fees for young girls. And we've seen a lot of them so excited, their parents so excited that we've given their kids an opportunity, especially for the kids that are actually in the graduating classes but can't pay that final school fees just to finish the last process. Also, Your Excellency, we believe tech is the future. Tech is the future. And that's why we started Girls in Tech. We want to begin to teach, or we have started teaching girls across Africa tech skills. That's where the world is going to. And for every summit or for every country we go to, we ensure we pick girls from that locality and teach them tech skills that will make them financially stable and viable in future. So they become a help both to themselves, to the family, to the society, and to the country.
Today in history.
On 24th March 1961, during the general elections, Democratic Party DP, led by Benedict Chiwanuka, defeated the Uganda People's Congress UPC, led by Dr. Apple Milton Obote. In these elections, at least 1 million Ugandans are said to have voted to elect 82 members of the Legislative Council, literally known as the JICO. DP garnered 43 seats, UPC won 35 seats, and the Independents won 2 seats, while the Uganda National Congress got only 1 seat. Speaking to UPC's defeat, Obote said, and I quote, "The overall majority of the seats obtained by our opponents is due to mainly the boycott of the elections in Uganda and to the active participation of religious denominations."
Pay for your dream phone, Mpola. Get your dream phone today for as low as 1,400 Uganda shillings with free data for a year and pay slowly. All phones come with daily 50 MBs for 12 months. Repayment period is 1 year. Available at MTN service centers and M-Kopa shops.
Where does it come from? That thing that makes us Ugandan. That thing that makes us different from everybody else. Where does it grow infinitely? Some say it's in our history, in our culture, and in our hearts, in our warm smiles and vast miles of coffee, dairy farmland, and amazing maize fields. It's in our inherent pursuit to always be better, to never stop growing and glowing. So you see, we are more than just a waving flag. We are a nation of sweat and skills, a nation of ideas and inventions. But what truly makes us Ugandan is our quest to improve the quality of life for Ugandans by creating sustainable jobs, businesses, and improving household incomes. That's what makes us Uganda Development Bank. Uganda Development Bank, inspiring development.
Enjoy convenience today with Airtel Money School Pay. Dial *185#. Select option 6, school fees. Select option 2, school pay. Select option 1, pay fees. Enter student number. Enter the amount. Enter the PIN number to complete payment. Beat the back-to-school hustle today. Pay school fees conveniently using Airtel Money. Airtel Money. Instant, secure, borderless.
COVID-19 is still here with us. As Owechitiwa Peter Maiga, the Prime Minister of Buganda, states, let us all take the necessary precautions.
Self-medication is always very dangerous. We should leave medical matters to the medical personnel. It's only a healthy population that can produce wealth. And if you want to work for your well-being, you must care about your health first.
Because of the new COVID-19 circulating variants like Omicron, it is very important for all of us to be fully vaccinated with 2 doses of the same vaccine type. It's only those getting Johnson & Johnson who receive only a single dose to be fully protected.
Even after vaccination, continue to adhere to all SOPs by wearing a mask properly, covering your mouth and nose, washing your hands regularly with soap and clean water or using an alcohol-based sanitizer, maintaining physical distance of at least 2 meters from others and avoiding crowds. Echa COVID-19, chija kugwa. This message is from the Ministry of Health with support from UNICEF and partners.
Get connected today with the My Airtel 4G smartphone and enjoy free data for 1 whole year worth 86,500 Uganda shillings. That's free 2 GB for the first month and free 1 GB for the next 11 months at only 250,000 Uganda shillings with free data for 1 whole year worth 86,500 shillings, making the effective price of the 4G phone 163,500 shillings only. Airtel, the smartphone network. Enjoy convenience today with Airtel Money School Pay, FlexiPay or Bridge. Airtel Money for Bridge Schools, dial *185#. Select option 6, school fees. Select option 1, Bridge Schools. Enter pupil ID. Enter the amount. Enter the PIN number to complete payment. Pay school fees conveniently using Airtel Money. Airtel Money. Instant, secure, borderless.
Welcome back from that break. Now, family members of fallen Speaker of Parliament Jacob Oulanyah have celebrated his 57th birthday with a call for harmony and reconciliation. Family members described the deceased as a generous man whose life was fully packed with humor. This was at his home in Muyenga, Kampala, where a special Thanksgiving service led by His Grace Stephen Kazimba Mokalu was held in his honor.
Had he lived beyond Sunday 20th March 2022, Jacob Oulanyah would have been part of his birthday celebration.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday.
On the 23rd day of March 2022, he would have turned 57 years old. He never lived to reach and see this day, to the grief of his family, friends and in-laws.
I promise that I will carry on his legacy. Few times or with time, I have to be a speaker in that house.
Let us be charitable. Let's help those who are in need. I believe so much in the Ubuntu concept that I am because you are. Okay? So it's what does humble. I am a husband because I have a wife. This man was not corrupt. This guy was not corrupt. Why do you scandalize the man? Because of power. Why? The guy is not corrupt. That's a fact. If you are corrupt, die alone. Leave Oulanyah.
Staring at his birthday celebrants, the sparkling smile of Jacob Oulanyah remains fresh in the memory of many.
Jacob was a loyal friend. Generosity and humor. He used to joke and he said, Mao, God has really assisted us and made you to be a short man. Imagine if you were tall and big.
But he died a man with a clean heart, a man who loved people, a man who cared deeply for people and for this country too.
We'll continue weeping for Oulanyah way beyond the burial.
This birthday celebration was a culmination of a Thanksgiving service led by the Archbishop of the Provincial Church of Uganda, His Grace Stephen Kazimba Mokalu. He called for constitutional amendment to address the controversies surrounding speakership succession.
And for those who made the constitution, they never thought about that. And we can't blame anybody. Now that we have an experience, which is a bad experience, that part should be revisited so that they can have election of a speaker, re-election of a speaker, after maybe the burial is done.
Back at Parliament, a bow tie was designed next to his portrait in honor of his preferred dress code. Mourners continue to pour in memory of his dedicated national service.
Whenever we could take issues to him that are of the common man, he would listen. We never waited long hours in his office to be attended to.
We are together. We are mourning together. May all of you take heart.
And I just pray that wherever you are, may the Almighty God strengthen you, and may we all know that it's God who brings and it's God who takes.
Actually, we say a man doesn't die completely. He has not died, he has left children, and those children will continue with the legacy that he has started.
Jacob Oulanyah was born on 23rd March 1965 and died on 20th March 2022, just 3 days to his 57th birthday. Henry Okrut, UBC.
Indeed, may his legacy continue to live on. Now, the Omoro district leaders have urged government to take over the uncompleted projects by the fallen Speaker of Parliament, Jacob Oulanyah. According to Omoro Local Council 5 Chairperson Douglas Peter Okello, completing the projects, mainly developmental, will make the legacy of Oulanyah to remain alive. Philip Aguta reports.
This building, located in the middle of Lalogi Trading Center, is supposed to house a radio station and belongs to the fallen Speaker of Parliament, Jacob Oulanyah. The building is complete pending installation of radio equipment. The transmitters have already been installed. Omoro district leaders and the local organizing committee for the burial of the dead Speaker of Parliament wants government to take over completion of Omoro FM.
He had even gone as far as procuring the necessary equipments for the establishment of Omoro FM here in Omoro district. But death did not allow him to accomplish that vision. What is remaining, and I want to make a special appeal to Uganda Communication Commission, that Uganda Communication Commission, please give us, the people of Omoro district, a frequency so that the vision of the late Speaker of Parliament, Jacob Oulanyah, remains.
The chairman of Omoro District Local Government, who is also the local chairperson organizing committee for the burial of the dead speaker, have also revealed that Oulanyah was paying school fees for over 180 vulnerable children.
At the time he passed on, he had taken care of holding hands of over 180 students, paying them in secondary schools, institutions, and universities. What is the future of these children? Because in these children, we see Jacob Oulanyah. What is the future? We want to appeal through either State House scholarship and other scholarships in this country that let the hands of these children, we hold the hands of these children.
Another project that has been undertaken by the fallen Speaker of Parliament is a revolving fund initiative codenamed the Dano Padano.
The Dano Padano Foundation provides soft loans for groups at an interest of 5% in a revolving manner. This Dano Padano Foundation must be maintained. And as the local organizing committee and a leader in Omoro district, want to appeal to the President, Parliament, and the Microfinance Support Center. How can we work together?
Philip Aguta, UBC News in Omoro.
National Resistance Movement Eastern Region Vice President Captain Mike Mukula has thrown more light on the compensation process that starts this weekend. President Yoweri Museveni is expected to grace the compensation process for people in Teso, Acholi, and Lango who were affected by the war and cattle rustling.
The position now which has come is that President Museveni, in the past manifesto of the National Resistance Movement, has chosen to compensate the people of Teso, the people of Lango, the people of Acholi. Each region will obtain or get 50 billion shillings. This is a huge input as a beginning. And I want to assure the people of Uganda, the National Resistance Movement is committed to that ideal. Now that we have peace, we can now compensate the people. We have the money, we have the capacity, and this is not all in an attempt to ensure that the country has what you call adequate capacity to produce, especially the 68% or the farmers who are in the area of production of about 80% of the economy, by introducing the parish development model. The PDM is a major tool that will now bring the ordinary person to the money economy. So therefore, on the 26th, which is a few days from now, in Soroti, His Excellency the President will make an outreach and switch on for the first time electronic dispatch of money to the accounts of the beneficiaries. This electronic dispatch will go directly to the accounts of the beneficiaries so that there are no intermediaries. The only intermediary is the bank that will dispense that money. The President has also, in his wisdom, chosen to ensure that in our initiative, even those who may not have been included in the first list will also be brought on board.
Court of Appeal has confirmed Wakaima Musoke, elected Member of Parliament for Nansana Municipality, after dismissing the election appeal filed by Musoke Hamis Walusimbi with costs. A panel of 3 justices, including Deputy Chief Justice Richard Butera, Catherine Bamugemerere and Irene Mulyagonja, presided over the ruling.
A panel of 3 justices, Deputy Chief Justice Richard Butera, Catherine Bamugemerere and Irene Esther Mulyagonja, has dismissed an appeal filed by Musoke Hamis Walusimbi against Nansana Municipality MP Wakaima Musoke.
If we allow the rules to be abused, we would render them dead letter. The application to validate the appeal is therefore dismissed, and the notice of motion filed in this court for orders to strike out petition of appeal is allowed with costs. In the final result, the appeal is struck out for being incurably defective.
Justice Catherine Bamugemerere read the ruling. She said Musoke Hamis Walusimbi filed the election appeal out of time and did not carry out due diligence on the laws on stipulated time within which he had to file the election petition appeal.
We therefore do not find this a fit and proper case in which to validate an appeal or to enlarge time. Instead, we find that the applicant displayed dilatory conduct in the way that this appeal process was handled.
The justices also ruled that lawyers to the plaintiff, Musoke Hamis Walusimbi, did not do due diligence basing on the resources given, a delay and time taken in filing the appeal. They attributed the reasons made by the plaintiff seeking extension of time to file the appeal to having been misled by court registry staff.
The applicant stated that a court official only going by the name Robert misled counsel. Sadly, the identity and the full names of the staff of the court were not disclosed. He relies on Julius Rabinumi versus Hope Bahimbisowe in CCA number 14 of 2009, in which the Supreme Court held that an error of counsel should not be visited on the litigant.
Wakaima, who was represented by lawyer Richard Latigo, welcomed the decision.
The court has decided that the appeal that was filed by Mr. Musoke Hamis Walusimbi is of no consequence, and as such, we have our day. So, Mr. Musoke, please go and serve.
The case was dismissed with costs. Sudat Kaye, UBC News.
Thank you, Sudat Kaye. Now, Court of Appeal has declined to squash the lower court decision where it sentenced the former principal accountant in the office of the Prime Minister, Godfrey Kazinda, to 15 years in prison and confiscation of his property by government. Kazinda was convicted on charges of acquiring wealth and enrichment while serving as a principal accountant in the Prime Minister's office. According to 3 justices, Kazinda failed to induce to court.
Corruption Court decision by Justice Margaret Tebulia of sentencing the former principal accountant in the office of the Prime Minister, Geoffrey Kazinda. Kazinda appealed against the decision. In the Anti-Corruption Court, Judge Margaret Tebulia sentenced Geoffrey Kazinda to 15 years in prison and ordered government to confiscate his property.
The information in support of the application is included.
The panel of 3 justices of Court of Appeal declined to quash the lower court decision.
The appellant's argument that the trial court should have discontinued the proceedings against him in High Court Criminal Case number 004 of 2016, from which this appeal arises, is baseless. We therefore find that the decision of the Constitutional Court is not a bar to the prosecution of the appellant on the current charges in this appeal.
The justices say the appellant, Geoffrey Kazinda, failed to induce evidence to court, highlighting the errors made by the trial judge Lawrence Gidudu in the lower court.
Once the prosecution had established that the appellant maintained a standard of living above that which is commensurate with his or her current or past known sources of income or assets, and that the accused was in control of possession of pecuniary resources or property disproportionate to his or her current or past known sources of income or assets, it is upon the appellant to justify or explain the significant rise in income in his defense.
However, court reduced Geoffrey Kazinda's sentence from 15 years to 7 years and 2 months. Now government will take Geoffrey Kazinda's property.
Section 31 of the Anti-Corruption Act does not require the prosecution to prove that the accused acquired the pecuniary resources or the properties through unlawful means, as the appellant contended. All the prosecution had to do was to prove beyond reasonable doubt that the accused maintained a standard of living above that which is commensurate with his or her current or past known sources of income and assets.
The appellant Geoffrey Kazinda was remanded to Ruzira Government Prison. Meanwhile, Justice Geoffrey Chiriabwire, Stephen Musota, and Justice Christopher Gashirabake have directed the respondents, Electoral Commissioner Nsegumire Muhammad Chibedi, to file their response before closure of business today. In the case where Dr. Sematiko Gordon Katende is challenging Nsegumire's victory.
The only document they had accepted, which was served on 20th October 2021, served on 20th October, but they put a stamp of 31st October to try and show court that they were served late. So all those have been presented to court.
Dr. Sematika in filing this case as court to nullify Nsegumire's victory for Mitiana North constituents alleging defamation and vote bribery.
Why should I bribe people? I did not bribe. I only worked for the people, and people saw it in me that I'm the best leader. So they choose to give me the votes.
Court will deliver its ruling on notice in this matter. Deborah Namamonde, Nantongo Rebecca, UBC News.
A group of lawyers have been enrolled to the bar in the function presided over by the High Court Assistant Registrar, Emokol Sam. Among the finalists was city businessman Kalunji Chirumira. Take a look.
Businessman Kalunji Chirumira Moses, who called upon rich people to return to books and get knowledge. He said he will represent Ugandans in legal affairs.
Most of my business colleagues are P5 dropouts. The highest they have gone is P7. So that's not enough knowledge that can help them leave legacy after their lifetime. So I call upon these rich people in Uganda and Kampala at large, at least to acquire more knowledge. Go back and enroll, at least complete O level, A level, that will help you leave a legacy beyond your lifetime.
The Assistant Registrar of High Court, Samuel Emokol, appealed to lawyers not to overcharge their clients.
I want to appeal to you to charge according to the scales. We have regulations. The advocates' remuneration and taxation of costs regulation. Stick to the scale. Look at what the scale is saying and charge the client accordingly. If you charge above, I'm sorry, but you may have to meet counsel fees at a certain point because the client will report you.
Emokol also advised lawyers to maintain smartness as a prelude to the best practice.
Dress well. I want to encourage you to dress well. All of you are smart. You're looking sharp. You're looking intelligent. Keep it at this. Do not get tired of appearing very decent. Many times in our practice, counsel walk in with clients and you cannot tell who is counsel and who is the client because the dressing is all terrible.
Remember, leadership is not a position. It is not just you as an advocate. How you're going to carry yourself out there matters.
Deborah Namamonde, Stephen Kayumba, UBC News.
Increasing types of cancers in the country is being attributed to consumption of acidic and processed foods plus organic chemicals that contaminate fruits and vegetables. Our nutritionists with Chinese and Korean companies, Sebutin Paul, advises government to invest in creating awareness among farmers on good practices of post-harvest handling to avoid contamination.
Is experiencing an increase in cancer-related illnesses, of which nutritionists estimate 118 types of cancers which relate to feeding. An expert, Dr. Sebutin Paul from the Chinese and Korean company, says good health is maintained on feeding alkaline food like fruits and vegetables than acidic foods like refined sugar, fried chicken and milk.
We need to concentrate more on alkaline foods. So our body needs 80% of that type of food. And then that 20% also we need them, but should be the minimum 20% a day. Are we getting that?
Agrochemicals used to spray foods after harvesting are also dangerous to health. Nutritionists advise farmers to spray and delay the crops for 3 to 4 days before taking them for sale.
That's one which is polluted. It is polluted with those chemicals which are there. And some of us will have salads. You want to take the one they are still, cut the tomatoes, kachumbari, you enjoy with your beef. But that food is already contaminated with those chemicals. Finally, those chemicals will damage the cells. It will damage them. And this thing is not one day. It's just an accumulative. They are damaged today, tomorrow, and here in Uganda we are very weak to do the regular checkups.
Labels of organic chemicals they use to spray, and people to look on the drinks and eats they consume to see the ingredients.
We used even like people who enjoy beer. There's a way we used to take those sugars. We used to squeeze our bananas, the juice is there. That banana juice is there, you can enjoy. That one has no more sugars, not that one from the Mayindis and whatever what they are doing. And so my advice, we have to go down to the villages, we train.
The world becoming a global village exposes people to different behaviors. On the other hand, drinking juice with natural sugars, taking a lot of water, and 7 to 8 hours of rest and exercise regularly are good health practices recommended. I'm Nafka Farida.
Global statistics indicate that orphanages are damaging to children and poor investment for communities. Child's Eye Foundation and partners have developed and launched a guidebook designed to identify and address the treat of mental health conditions in children and youth care leavers.
That nearly 6 million children live in institutions and orphanages across the world, of whom 50,000 are in Uganda.
Just about associating mental well-being with Butabika. The mental well-being issue is global. Even in the workplace here, even me who is running the organization, I must think about the mental well-being of my staff. In the schools, the children have now gone back to school, but the teachers will tell you that the issues they are having to deal with in the school regarding the mental well-being of the children are many. But are these schools even prepared to deal with that?
The program focuses on trauma, stress, depression, and anxiety, targeting 1,700 caregivers and vulnerable youth.
This manual that we have developed and what Child Eye is trying to do is to try and address these issues that these young people are faced with. And in so doing, we are able to help these young people to find a sense of semblance, a sense of being, a sense of belonging. Like you've been told, Child's Eye is not just targeting the caregivers. We are also targeting the people who are working with them. Those are the social workers, the leaders of the caregivers, because we are training also a group of young people who are going to be mentoring their peers who are living in institutions.
Child's Eye Foundation, with other stakeholders, operates in Tororo, Mpigi, Masaka and Kampala, where they support the youth to move into family-based care and independent living.
We are able to document or have access to this network of young people who have left institutions through their through a partner organization called Alternative Care Initiatives Uganda. They are also the ones that run the Uganda Caregivers Network. So that is how we're able to mobilize and get perspectives.
Targeting families, or what we would say communities, that are receiving these caregivers. Why? We want them to know how best to handle these young people, and also help these young people know how best to fit within the community. Then we are also targeting the leaders within those communities.
Haruna Mutesasira, UBC.
Faith of Unity leader Omukwenda Ruhanga Wobushoboji Bishaka has tasked his flock to denounce satanic vices and embrace religion and hard work. This was during his stop at his prayer palace in Kasasa in Hoima district.
Like everywhere he's been to, Omukwenda Bishaka Kugizibwe has been received with pomp at his prayer place in Kasasa Hoima district. He advised the Faith of Unity flock to desist from satanic tendencies and rather embrace God and let his good works manifest.
Atutiranize tubebamu in one flow, tubebamu okwakukana kw'eby'okukimu omunsi ono. Tuleke kwesiga sitaani, twesige Ruhanga. Hati ekintu kyona ky'olaba nitwesaniriza asayidi ya sitaani ili twabayikiriza obatambukirize ny'obumu era ano yejjukya obwo tukyabayo oyo kuba harwaji wa Ruhanga atenzire nakola omukama Ruhanga amaigona.
Through this, he says, there will be unity in this country that is richly blessed to provide enough for all, especially through hard work in niche areas like agriculture.
Abokwenda abesiona nomuno abokwenda bwa Kasasa Hoima kamuna abana ba Ruhanga ejwenda nibasiima abokutwara omulimo gw'omukama Ruhanga obusozi Lusaka obukwegesa obumu abantu bateerane okwakukana kw'eby'okukimu omunsi ono.
The latest prayer session was attended by several members of parliament that credited Faith of Unity for its resolve to spread the word.
Baitu kikunkola kubi oluguudo lwaitu luno kuba lwalekerwa enyuma nabwekyo ekyo nakyo tugenda kikolawo ng'okutukali hamu hano n'abagenzi baitu abatali hano nuko tusobole kulolanga oluguudo lwaitu luno nabo balukozereho.
More than 170 Faith of Unity followers from Tanzania also graced the prayer session.
The Ministry of Water and Environment has launched a Life AR initiative to build capabilities and systems of developing nations deliver climate resilience in line with priorities. The ceremony was at the sidelines of the Water and Environment Week, commemorated annually to create awareness on conservation and protection of the environment.
We invite you as a sign of commitment, Prime Minister, to attend your signature.
A decentralized climate finance mechanism is the model to transfer climate finance to local governments and invest behind local people's priorities to adopt and get onto resilient development pathways. Ministry of Water and Environment has launched a 10-year initiative, the Life AR, to support developing countries in strengthening approaches to climate resilience. Finance Minister Tayewa Kasaija advised the implementers of the program to utilize the project funds appropriately.
This money, when it comes, for goodness sake, let it go to several so there are you people, the chairman or the leaders of this, help us. Because if the donors and our friends start hearing that some money is not going to where it's supposed to go, they will withdraw.
State Minister for Water and Environment, Beatrice Anyar, noted that the current international system for financing the necessary adaptation to climate risks is not working.
I want to sound this that we take seriously the implementation of this program as we are going to launch it together. Let's join hands with all other stakeholders. Bring yourself on board. It is our thing, a success story, which all of us, including the development partners, including the CSOs, local government, so that we say, yes, we learned a lesson.
And particularly deliver the intended goal of delivering 70% of climate finance to the grassroots for the locally prioritized, tangible climate investments.
Only 18% of the global climate finance reaches developing countries, and just 10% reaches the local level where the impacts of climate change are felt. Uganda is one of the 6 front-runner countries that will implement the pilot phase of the Life AR initiative, alongside Ethiopia, Mali, Burkina Faso, Gambia, among others. In Uganda, it will be implemented in 12 districts, including Yumbe, Rakai, Pakwach, Pader, Ntungamo, Ngora, Rwengu, and Chibale. Zahara Abigaba, UBC News.
UBC News takes a very short break. We return with more stories.
Need to send money to a loved one but you don't have enough on your phone? Have you run out of fuel but you don't have enough money? Do you want to pay for yaka or water but have insufficient funds? Or do you want to shop but you don't have enough money? Don't worry, Gatawa with MTN Momo Advance. Momo Advance tops up your Momo to complete your transactions. Dial star 165 star 5 star 3 hash to apply. MTN Momo Advance is always available when you need it.
His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Uganda, will grace the official launch of compensation payments of the confirmed livestock claimants stemming from the insurgencies that ravaged and adversely impacted the northern and eastern parts of the country, especially in Acholi, Lango, and Teso sub-regions, starting with the 1979 Liberation War. The Ministry of Justice and Constitutional Affairs, together with the affected local government authorities, established a verification committee to evaluate, ascertain, and confirm the genuineness of the livestock claims to be compensated by the government. The launch of the payments exercise will take place on Saturday, 26th March 2022 at Soroti University Grounds, Soroti City, from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. This is a confirmation of the NRM government's commitment and concern towards restoring and improving the economic welfare of the war-affected communities in these sub-regions.
When COVID came, it felt like it destroyed everything my mom had built. She was ready to let go of her dreams. But when one door shuts, a window opens. She grabbed her last command and took a leap of faith. She refused to give up. So with a bit of daring and Grandma's secret recipe, her business was back. And not just bigger, beyond her wildest imagination.
This is a story of a regular Ugandan just like you, who harnessed the power of technology to provide a solution for us. How about you tell us your story? UG needs more of you. To share your story, visit airtel.co.ug/UG needs more of you or call or SMS 162. Airtel, the smartphone network.
Welcome back from that break. Now into some business news. Businesses' failure is becoming a reality as Uganda's economy gets increasingly formalized. This trend has elevated the courts of law to the center stage of adjudicating insolvency disputes, build resilience and supporting recovery. By training judicial officers and insolvency practitioners, Uganda Registration Service Bureau seeks to establish a fair insolvency system that promotes business survival.
Insolvency is a state of financial distress in which a person or business is unable to pay their debts. In a company, insolvency can arise from various situations that can lead to significant interruption or drop in cash flow. Uganda Registration Services Bureau acts as the official receiver in insolvency cases.
We've just come out of the COVID-19 pandemic. It has had negative effects on individuals, institutions, but also registered entities, especially the business person. You don't expect a business that has been closed out for 2 years, for 1 year, to be still standing. You have to give them time to recover. You have to give them time to reset. You have to give them time to re-engineer and get back on the road.
The training conducted by URSB and the Judicial Training Institute equips judicial officers with knowledge in administering justice in insolvency disputes. It forms part of the 5th Annual Insolvency Conference under the theme, Emerging Trends in Corporate Restructuring in Uganda, What to Expect and How to Prepare.
This is actually the right time when you must engage the high gear of mediation. When you receive such a petition, the first thing you look at is, can I have these parties mediate? And they mediate in terms of restructuring, rather than coming back here to say, let's finish off this company.
Due to the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic, economic shocks and continuous formalization of the economy, business failure has become a reality, and insolvency law and practice is taking center stage.
If you have to get a judge to decide the case, say, on insolvency, and he has no idea of what insolvency is, you will make a mess. So these are the people who are going to administer. These are people who are going to, if you want to rescue a company, you want protection, you go to court.
Strengthening the insolvency ecosystem and building capacity of various stakeholders and insolvency practitioners is key in adjudicating insolvency disputes, which in turn support corporate recovery and economic development.
The moment you destroy or you kill the company without looking at it critically, you are removing capital out of the economy.
Dennis Igor for UBC Business.
And now into the world of sports. The momentum in the Altona BSK Swim League is steadily on the up following several trades that have improved hitherto underperformers. This first ever commercialized swim league is one of its kind in Uganda, with transfers, otherwise known as drafts, a key part in not causing excitement but also improving performances.
The Altona British School Kampala Swim League was started in 2021 with just 2 teams, Colts and Talons. The number has since grown to 3 with the addition of Team Astros. And whereas many thought increased numbers would deflate competition, the opposite is what's been realized. The league also has transfers, which makes things more interesting, with some of the most notable transfers being Sonia Mwere's switch from Colts to Talons.
I moved away, not because of the money, but just that I want, not help Talon, but I want to help them add on their points. And moving from Colts has been a good experience. Colts has been very good. The coaches are very kind, teammates are also very kind. It's like a family there. Yeah.
Other movers are Daniel Waswa to Astros, Catherine Nabidio and Joel Wakabi to Colts, while Gabriela Eliana and Kato Maiko are now with Talons. All these transfers come at a cost, with the swimmer banking 25% of the kitty.
I'm in Astros, transferring from Talons. My experience about this league is that I'm a balanced swimmer in all strokes, so I'm going to try and swim my best today. I'm swimming with Ajay and Elijah, and I'm trying to beat my PB in 25 backstroke.
Heading into a highly anticipated match day 11 this Friday at the British School Kampala swimming pool, Astros lead the way with 2,327 points, with Colts in second a further 14 points, while Talons in third has 2,203. John Barnes, Sentamo, reporting.
Busitama University is readying itself to host the first ever female-only Federation of East Africa University Sports Championship. It is expected to feature about 50 universities from the region, contesting about 19 sports disciplines. Take a look.
For the first time in the history of East African University sport, Busitama University is to host an all-females sports championship.
We are going to host the first ever women Federation of East Africa University Sports Women Sports event, which is going to run from 16th to 17th April. This event is going to bring about over 50 universities from the Eastern Africa region. So we are expecting universities from Kenya, Rwanda, Tanzania, Djibouti, Somalia, Ethiopia.
It will be preceded by a gender roundtable that will bring together women in sport and academia on 15th April to forge a way forward in areas like research.
We also have the gender roundtable, which is going to run on 15th April. So we are going to be here, kind of a conference where women leaders in sports, women in politics, and women leaders in other organizations who will come together. Over 100 women are expected to be in this conference, who come together to discuss the way forward for women in leadership. We realize that women in leadership, mostly in sports leadership, are still lagging behind. So Busitama University has the opportunity to host such a regional event, international event, for the first time.
The 2 days action starts 16th April with participants to contest several disciplines like netball, volleyball, athletics, and all indoor activities. John Barnes, Sentamo, reporting.
Well, and John Barnes, Sentamo does close down this news bulletin. Thank you so much for your company this evening. Do enjoy the rest of the programming on UBC television. I'm Lorene Masika Kazumoto. We'll leave you with Kutesa Mili with tomorrow's weather forecast. Good night.
My name is Kutesa Mili with your weather update. We are still having thunder showers in most parts of the country. Though still other areas are experiencing sunny intervals. Seeing the satellite picture, we are seeing a rainbow back into our country, enhanced with local effects bring us the showers that we are experiencing lately, more especially around Lake Victoria. Tomorrow morning, we expect to wake up with light showers across parts of the Lake Victoria, some parts of West Nile and Aloha region, but the rest of the country is expected to have sunny intervals. After an hour, though, we expect a pickup of thunder showers in most parts of the country and temperature to rise up to 30 degrees of maximum across the northern part of Uganda. 37 across our capital city Kampala and across the lake shores, Kabala Highlands with the lowest of 23 degrees Celsius. It is moving out of Uganda, touring the cities across the globe. We're forecasting thunder showers across Nairobi at a maximum of 30 degrees Celsius, Moscow with cloudy conditions at a low temperature of 6 degrees Celsius, New Delhi, Cairo and Dubai with sunny conditions at a maximum of 34 degrees Celsius across New Delhi and 36 across Dubai. Thanks for tuning on UBC. My name is Kutesa Mili. Stay tuned and see you tomorrow.